Yeah, the family faith plan has been really kind of a journey of our faith.
Yeah.
And as a married couple, just really, frankly, how God's worked through us and through our kind of personal passions and also our professional careers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at a period a few years back where through work, I was doing a lot of strategic planning efforts, working with my team, and was in prayer one morning and really felt God calling me on my heart and really challenged me and saying, you're spending all this time planning all these things for work. And we're very planful people.
Right.
So, between nutrition and fitness and financials, and we have a plan for it.
Yeah.
But yet, what's your number one priority? What matters the most, right? And clearly it's our faith.
Yeah.
And as husband and wife, my responsibility, an opportunity to lead my wife to heaven, and us working together to lead our children to heaven, right? That's number one. And so in the midst of all that, how can we not have a plan for our family's faith and that journey of faith together? Yeah. And, through that journey, God really inspired us to step back and to really talk about where our priorities were as a family, from the lens of our faith, and do it in a way that's fun and enjoyable and engaging for our children, because that's what our faith should be. It should be authentic and real and fun.
Yeah.
And it has been that. And it's evolved over time. And we've had, our ups and our downs and our strengths and our weaknesses like anything in life. Yeah. But through it all, God really has blessed that journey and that progression of what was just a quiet morning to becoming something that's really been a great kind of foundation of a plan for us to build our faith upon for our family.
Yeah, and I would just say too, we were entering a season of being extremely busy. At that point, we only had 3 of our children. Adeline hadn't been born yet, and I think we were going through the churn of daily life, and at least in the back of my mind, I was like, we have intentionality with what we're doing with our day-to-day. For Dave at work, I feel very blessed to be able to be at home full time with our children, but the day-to-day of volunteering at school and taking care of everything on the home front too. And it's just everything was busy. And I think for us, it was just it's not that things weren't going well, but we wanted to be more intentional.
Yeah, well said.
And I think the biggest thing for the two of us is just we're not giving that gift to our children. For us, we have that foundation of being adults and knowing the importance of going to Mass every Sunday and the importance of service and why we should do that. But it's we weren't providing that example for our children. And unless they are able to feel it, see it, touch it, right? I mean, at that young age, I'm for us, we're they're gonna be out the door and they're not gonna have that. It's such a short window, and I think it, is just the Holy Spirit really telling us, hey, you need to be doing something different. And it wasn't anything huge and life-changing all at one moment.
Right.
It was a progression of conversations and how do we want to make this work for our family? And it was I think an organic conversations that we would have on Saturday mornings when we get up before our kids get up, because that's the only time that we have before life gets crazy at 7 a.m. But yeah, I mean, it was a process. I would say it took us a good year till we felt hey, we like this and we're going to move forward with this. And then, we've just kept adding to it. I mean, it's progress, not perfection, in how we try and do life with our family. I mean, it's just nothing's ever going to be perfect, and that's not what God is asking of us. But He is asking for progress, and He's asking that we're putting one foot forward in whatever we decide to do for him, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I was just reflecting back on kind of that journey over the last few years. And, we go to Mass every Sunday, right? But then we would just go back to turning the football game on, right, when we got home, or running to the next activity. And it was just kind of like this rat race, right?
Yeah.
And, the intentional conversations of after Mass, coming home, and really being able to reflect on keeping it simple, but just what's one thing you heard today that was, unique to you, or one thing that maybe God spoke to you, and through it, and being able to engage our kids in a way that really shows that it is our number one priority. It's not just something we do, but it is who we are. That's been an amazing blessing.
Yeah.
And, now as we've journeyed through that and being able to see, through Matthew Kelly's great work with Dynamic Catholic, right, as we've been seeking out ways to be more intentional at Mass with our kids, we've happened upon the Mass Journal concept.
Yeah.
So we've bought those for our family, and it's a really simple thing, but it's part of how I think God's blessed this journey of faith and brought fruit through it, through this Mass Journal concept, because the intentionality of our kids, at 11 and 7 and 6, the 3-year-old, she just likes to have fun. But, we're at Mass, of being able to listen and watch them take notes. And it can be the lyrics to the songs. It can be something that the priest says, like, I like donuts, right?
Yeah.
But it matters to them, and it helps them connect with listening to the Mass and listening to how God's calling them, and helping them ask questions that are really thoughtful versus just kind of checking the box, right? And just going through the motions of just being there. Yeah. And that's been an amazing blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. One idea that you came up with was like having like a family member be a champion of like one particular thing within the plan. So like one thing that I wanted to champion was service, and finding opportunities for our kids to be able to do service outside of the home or within the home, because it's what I found was really challenging was trying to find something that our whole family could do. There's plenty of service opportunities for adults to get plugged in to, and like our oldest now, I mean, very easy for him to get plugged in, but super challenging when you have, children, 4 kids that at that, like when we started to develop this, like all under the age of 10, like it's like a divide and conquer, right? Like only half of you can go and do this. And it kind of took away from, I guess, the point of like, we want to be able to do this together.
Right.
So, one thing that really, has spoken to you with prayer was like, what can we do, like outreach for helping those in need? And just something really simple was like developing giving bags that we put together just with like basic necessities of like a bag that you can hand out to someone when you're driving to work or driving to Mass or going to Target, right? Simple like protein bar, right? Like the essentials that someone can use, something tangible, and having the kids put those together, tie the bags, right? Put like the Post-it note on it of, a simple prayer, that, we're offering this up in prayer and we'll be praying for you. So things like that where they are like physically touching, seeing, feeling, right? And that's made an impact. And COVID has obviously it's provided opportunity to really like pause in a lot of things, and that's one area that we came back to because we hadn't been able to do that. I mean, no one was driving or doing anything for 2 months, and you're still not going to work like into the office every day. So but that's something that we've reevaluated because we've seen that need. I mean, when we're out and we're driving around the community, it's like we see that people are out there and they need help. So yeah, I mean, Holy Spirit works in great ways that way, right? It's just like when you're starting to like feel like, hey, we should probably do that again, and then you drive around the community and it's like it's right there. So that's been one area of service that we've done as a family that's been really positive. I would say like the second thing that I've been so happy about is with the busyness that we had been talking about of just like the grind and like the daily life and just like, and we're very intentional about not trying to overschedule, but the reality is like it's still busy. And having like family Friday, like family night together, and establishing that, like, you know, we're just dedicating Friday evenings to like just doing like movie night or game night. And then, you know, it's a rotation in our house with like our kids getting to pick and choose what they want. And it's like they get so excited. Like our daughter, like by Tuesday, is it Friday yet?
As
like,
a 3-year-old.
Are we doing movie night yet, Mommy? So that's just been such a blessing. Just making small, simple changes with how we do daily life. But it's going to make lasting impacts for our kids, and they really do. I mean, we cherish Friday evenings together. It's our time, and sometimes there's a fight over which movie someone picks, but you know, that's typical in our home.
Yeah, the family faith plan is truly a journey. I mean, it has been and will continue to be for us, right? Mm-hmm. And I think part of the fun with the kids is, you know, involving them in that journey and just being real with them and being honest with, you know, what we're doing and why we're doing it, right? And, you know, to see the look in their eyes when you tell them, hey, my responsibility is to lead you to heaven, right? So we can be there forever with God, and them just to either look at you with a big look of curiosity or a look of inspiration, yeah, is incredible, right? Because they see that intentionality and that you love them that much and you care that much about them. What you do with it doesn't matter as much about that as it is about why you're doing it. You can say, hey, instead of reading, you know, your favorite book tonight, we're going to read the Action Bible, or we're going to read a story about this saint. And the reason why we're going to do it is because that will help us understand our faith better, help you have, you know, a good lesson that you can maybe apply with your friends. And over time, it's amazing how God works through that, because then when they have a problem at school or they have an issue or something, they're naturally drawn to that, right? That divine wisdom, that divine guidance of our faith, of being able to go there and seek that truth and seek that wisdom of how to work through a situation. And so I guess my recommendation or my feedback on involving your kids is just let it be natural and let it be fun and involve them with it, but make sure they understand why you're doing it, because that is the most important thing. Yeah. And then what happens within your family, you know, whether it's, you know, making something for, you know, people in need, or reading a book together, watching movies together, talking about famous people that have strong faith, right? Whomever that is, or don't, right? That don't have faith, and understanding that, and, you know, their pursuit versus the pursuit that Jesus teaches us. God will work through that. And it's amazing. And that's part of the fun of the journey, right? Is just embracing that it is a journey. And none of us have it all figured out. We're not supposed to. And it's not going to be perfect. But as long as we trust Him, as long as our family understands why we're doing it, God will bless it. It'll be an amazing journey for our family. The benefits as a family have been awesome. And, you know, I think as a dad, right, there's some expectation that you always have the answers, right? I know I don't have all the answers, but it's part of the journey of life and the quest of knowing that God has the answer. And I think one of the best things that's come out of it is the questions that our kids ask. Yeah. And the reality that I don't know all those things, but that's part of how I learn and grow in my faith too. Yeah. You know, the amazing curiosity that our children have when you really listen to their questions about faith and life and the beliefs of our church. or the most simple funny things, right? That like, well, this story happened in the gospel, and what was Jesus really doing? They're like, I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah.
And then usually my answer is, well, we should ask Father.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah,
so for all of our priests out there, but it's part of the beauty of it too, because then our priests are amazing, and if they know, they share their wisdom, but sometimes they don't, and they say, you know what, that's a great question. I'm gonna follow up with you on it, and it's been really cool to see that. That connectedness of the curiosity and the beauty and the richness of the wisdom of our faith. And that has been just really fun and continues to be, because it's how we all learn and grow, is through being honest, asking questions, and then seeking God's wisdom through that journey.
No, absolutely. One of like the intentionalities that we committed to with the Family Faith Pen when we created it too was extending that invitation to have our priests over and inviting them into our home to bless our home, and then sharing a meal together. And that has become such an awesome tradition at our home. Like our kids so look forward to having our priests over. And the questions that they ask them, it's just like I feel like a little kid, because I'm waiting for how is Father going to answer this one, But there's just something there with the Holy Spirit working in there when you're sitting around the table and your children are, they're like pleading with Father to stay. Because, they want to keep asking questions, or they want to play games, and, just making it comfortable where it's a natural, it's a natural thing to have Father over for dinner and just hang out. It warms my heart, like when I can see our family around the table and seeing God working through that. That's a couple years ago, there's no way. There's just no way our kids would have been at that comfort level to feel comfortable just to even ask one question.
Right.
So that's been a huge blessing to see that progress.
And I think to see the connectedness then, kind of the full circle of, then when we go to Mass on Sunday, there's a natural relationship that's being built.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're more engaged, and they're really thinking about what Father's saying, and they know that if they have a question, they have an opportunity to then ask it.
Yeah.
Right?
And they feel comfortable going up to them after Mass when there's a lot of adults around, and they'll sit and wait in line. Wait in line to ask their question, or just shake Father's hand, or just say, hey, have a great Sunday. So certainly progress there from where all our whole family was at a couple years ago.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see that progression. And again, it starts with just one small step, right? One simple thing. And that's what God does, right? He just asks us to take that simple step.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's beyond us what he does with it, but that's part of the beauty of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are great. Is there anything that you'd like to add that something on top of your head that you didn't get to address that you'd like to just talk a little bit about with the Family Faith Plan?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing I would tell dads out there is that just have fun with it, right? It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be rigid. It shouldn't be. Just have fun with it. Just try to pick one thing and start with one thing and work together on it. Inevitably, you're going to get busy. Something's going to happen. And maybe you don't do it for a week or a month, but you have to then revisit it and pick it back up and just be honest with it and say, hey, we need to revisit it. Why? Because, we want to get to heaven together, right? Yeah. And that matters so much that we're going to revisit this. Yeah. And then have fun with that journey and just enjoy it as a family. Be intentional about that journey, and God will do great things with it for your family.
Yeah, and I would just say to all the moms out there, one of the most important things, that I appreciate that you do is how you lead our family. And, I think that there is such importance in the dynamic of husband and wife, and as your wife, letting you lead in the way that you need to lead our home. And the example that that provides for our children. And then, my part in that, right, is providing that example of dad. Dad is, taking the lead on this one, and mom is going to take the lead on this one, right? We are a team, but really lifting up, right, your husband with how he is leading your home and leading your family, right? Ultimately with, right, our goal of all getting to heaven someday. But yeah, that's such an important dynamic of that too, of the team approach through all of this.
Yeah.
But, really, and it's not stepping back in any sense of the form. It's like, that is what you are supposed to do. And I do my part in what I'm supposed to do. And it's good. And keeping each other accountable too. I mean, there are moments where you say, hey, we haven't done this in a while. Like, we need to do this. And I do the same thing. And God speaks to you, when there's something on your heart, and not being afraid to keep each other accountable. I think it's like, this doesn't have to be like, I didn't do my homework and now I'm going to be punished. It's not that at all.
And it's not
right?
going to be perfect.
No, totally.
There's no chance.
No.
Zero. It's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be.
Right. That's not what God is asking of us, right? Right. Just incremental steps forward, right? And then He'll bless that.